What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through my transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 5. So know what you guys are thinking, I'm getting a video on Sunday. This is not the usual, but unfortunately because of the quick turnaround between Game Week 4 and Game Week 5, please remember Game Week 5's deadline is going to be on Tuesday evening, I guess morning or afternoon, wherever you guys are around the world. But if you guys don't want to put an alarm or notification on your calendar, you can just simply put my notifications on for YouTube or Twitter, as we'll probably be doing a deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline. But as I mentioned, quick turnaround, and therefore I'm recording this just as the games or the first games for Sunday have kicked off. That's going to be Newcastle vs Wolves, then finally Aston Villa against West Ham. So please keep that in mind, but I will update you guys in the team selection that I will record tonight after the Spurs game. So make sure that you check that out tomorrow when I do release it. Now in terms of the transfer plan, 1 free transfer, 0.5 in the bank. Let's see where we can make some upgrades. Now also make sure to comment down below how your game week has kind of gone. All my players actually played yesterday on Saturday, so the final points will be totaled, but obviously the rank can also change. Now I'll start off with my Game Week 4 team review, and then I'll go into my transfer plan. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So as I mentioned in the introduction to this video, I'm actually recording this as the 3 PM my time kickoffs have taken place. So that's going to be Wolves vs Newcastle, and then Aston Villa vs West Ham. And then later on tonight, we have Spurs taking on Nottingham Forest, and as a non-Perisic owner, I'm quite worried about that fixture. But navigating to the bottom right of your screen, as I mentioned, the total points, all my plays already featured, 73 total points, nice game week rank, just under 1 million. Please remember, this is going to be without Perisic's points, and he's probably going to haul tonight, to be honest, and that's led to a rise in rank to 1.2 million and a total points of 246. Now comment down below how many overall points you guys have. What's your current overall rank looking like? Are you happy with it? Are you sad with it? And in Game Week 4, how did your team get on? Then finally for the transfer plan later on, bottom right, 1 free transfer and 0.5 in the bank. Now how we actually got that 0.5 in the bank, I'm going to navigate to the bench. First of all, we actually downgraded Leon Bailey, who's benched as far as I know against that West Ham side. So hopefully he doesn't come off and get some FPL points, because then I'm going to regret doing that transfer. But I actually did that on Friday night because he was predicted to drop in price. So as you guys can see, second place on our bench, Diallo from Southampton. Don't ask me why it's Diallo. Simply went for a 4.4 that didn't look like he was going to drop in price. Not going to prevent a triple up from Southampton because I won't want to get their players anyway. And he currently is going to be one of the cheapest midfielders, as I said, at 4.4. So Bailey at 4.9 to a 4.4 gives us that 0.5 in the bank. And there's just something about those kind of 0.5, the 0 decimal places that you guys want to have. I think it's just because the price at the start of the season. But from a psychological point of view, I wanted that extra 0.5. So luckily, as I mentioned, Bailey is benched for that game against West Ham, so hopefully he doesn't come off and get any points. Other players on our bench, we're going to have Danny Ward against Chelsea. Wasn't expecting him to get any clean sheets there. If you guys did have the double up of Iverson and Ward, pretty unfortunate how this season's kind of gone, but I guess Leicester's defense is not that great anyways to start off with. Andreas Pereira, only 2 points against Arsenal. Pretty expected. Arsenal have a very good defense. Then finally, Diallo got 0 points because he's not going to play, and Archer, I don't think he's going to play as well. Moving on to our starting 11, we got Ramsdale on goal. Mentioned that good Arsenal defense, but unfortunately that wasn't going to result in any Ramsdale points. Arsenal conceded 1 goal, I think, to Mitrovic. And then the unlucky point of view was that Salah and also Gabriel, the two alternatives to kind of Ramsdale, went and got an assist, bonus points, and Gabriel got a goal. So don't you know what's happening with Ramsdale at the current moment? I think it's because they're not really conceding that many shots. In turn, Arsenal's defense has improved, and that's resulted in Ramsdale's save points, bonus points going down, which is a little bit unfortunate. But he definitely is going to be one of those considerations for a transfer out in the future. However, I never really like to use a free transfer, so I might just keep hold of him till the first wildcard. But going on to the rest of our back line, luckily the big at the back, or the big back 5, returned some points this week, starting off with Trent Alexander-Arnold with a massive haul of 17. So Trent ended that fixture with a goal, a clean sheet, and an assist, and then I think 2 bonus points if I do recall. I think Bobby Firmino got 3 bonus points after his 2 goals and 3 assists. Absolutely mental score there from the Brazilian, and I'm pretty sure none of us had him in our FPL teams. But luckily Trent, basically all of us do own him. The patience has finally paid off, but as you guys have seen with FPL sometimes, just have to be patient with these Liverpool assets, as Trent is a great option and definitely was going to get a haul on his hands. Now that 9-0 against Bournemouth was a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting him to concede that many goals, but I still was expecting quite a reaction from Liverpool after that United game, and that's why these assets were going nowhere in my team. But if you guys did take out Trent, don't you know what to say to you, because I don't think that was a great move. In terms of Robertson, also had a good performance. That's why I said don't you take Robbo out, but I guess Diaz did outperform him. But if you guys were taking a hit, I guess that reduces the gain. But having spoken about Trent and his 17 points, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum with the Man City returns, and that's going to be 1 point from Cancelo and 1 point from Kyle Walker. Now this game started off in the perfect manner for opponents of my team. John Stones conceding that OG in about the first 5 minutes. Then Crystal Palace went on and scored a second one. So that's going to be a -1 for my defenders. Now, I don't really know what's happening with this kind of Man City defense. They have really good defensive stats. Last season, they looked pretty good. This season, they look really strong defensively. But it seems like they're just conceding these odd goals. And it seems like these past 2 games against Newcastle and Crystal Palace have been quite tough. Then in turn, the 4 goals that Man City score, Cancelo or Kyle Walker get no attacking returns to boot. And that just makes this game week look quite bad. But saying that though, the next fixture against Nottingham Forest looks quite strong. And I can't really take these players out before that, or could I? But now we're going to go on to a pairing that, like with Kyle Walker and Cancelo, even though they conceded, they still got some attacking returns, and that's what I kind of wish for from these 2 Man City defenders. It's going to be Reece James and then also Cucurella. So both these 2 players conceded against Leicester. However, they did go down to 10 men pretty early, so that might have been an expectation, but they still each got an assist to their name. Then Reece James goes and gets 2 bonus points, absolutely bonus point magnet. He also hit the post, which was pretty unlucky, and he could have actually had a massive haul. Now, yes, it was frustrating that Leicester scored 1 goal, but they did have some big chances, and that's why I'm fine because they went down to 10 men. So luckily, Cucurella finally got us some points. Reece James also got us some points. But at the end of the day, if Man City maybe outperform them, I'll be looking at them and hope for more. Now, with these 2 assets, how they kind of set up, I didn't really know if it was a back 4 or a back 5 before the lineup, but it seems like it was going to be a back 4. So it's almost like Tuchel played a 4-3-3, which makes Reece James and Cucurella better options at those fullback positions. Now, who kind of knows what's going to happen in the future when Koulibaly comes back from his suspension? Will Reece James be right centre back? Now that Fofana's kind of signed for them, don't really know what's going to happen. But as long as both these 2 players keep on starting for Chelsea, I think I'll keep hold of them because the fixtures look quite strong. Going on to midfield department, and we're going to start off with probably the biggest disappointment of the game week. It's going to be Mo Salah with 3 points, doubled to 6. So I know what you guys are thinking, how in the world did Mo Salah come out of a 9-0 victory, having played the majority of the game, played 90 minutes in that fixture, and he didn't exit with any attacking returns? So I'm just going to repeat that. 9 goals, 0 attacking returns. That kind of edges Kai Havertz when Kai Havertz was in that massive victory for Chelsea over Norwich. I captained him and he also ended up blanking. Now, I can't even say that Mo Salah looked bad in that fixture. He had massive big chances that he simply skied or used the wrong foot for the finish, and that's why he came out of this game with only 3 points. So it's a little bit of a tough situation here because if they're scoring 9 goals, obviously Liverpool are looking strong, but when Mo Salah gets no returns, is he actually worth a transfer out because he looks off form? Now, it's going to be a tough debate to go over, and I'll mention it in the transfer plan later on, so make sure that you guys stick to the end of the video. A player that luckily got us some points from that 9-0 win of Liverpool was going to be Luis Diaz with a massive 14 points. So 2 goals to his name, also the clean sheet point took him to 14 points, also with the extra bonus point as well. Now, between Robbo and Diaz, I haven't really worked out which move would have been better. If I just kept Robertson, I probably would have brought in Gross, and you guys know how well he's done over these past couple game weeks, so don't exactly know how that's gone, but if I'm happier owning Luis Diaz than Robertson heading into these next couple games. Now, the Colombian was all over the place, getting in those 4 departments, looked like he was getting quite central in situations, and that's what I want to see from my FPL midfielders. So I am happy that I made the switch from Robertson to Diaz, as it makes the games a little bit more exciting. We're then going to head on to our last midfielder, and as I mentioned through the previous team selections and the transfer plans, Mr. Consistent for our FPL team, however, he did blank in game week 4. So Martinelli actually came with that fixture, having a very good game. In terms of the stats, he looked very strong, had a good kind of rating in terms of 10 for that fixture, but unfortunately no attacking returns came his way. But Fulham does seem like it's going to be quite a tough game for these sides in the upcoming game weeks, and that's why you might not be looking to actually captain teams playing against them. So Martinelli blank, but I'll take that on the chin because the rest of the team look pretty strong, and this has been the first time that he hasn't really got us any points. Heading into our 4 department, super happy that I did have one man, Erling Haaland, with a massive 17 points after getting a Hattie against Crystal Palace. So a Hattie for Haaland was always on the cards, and that's why I wasn't too fond of the kind of Kane move. However, Kane does play tonight, and he could also get a hat-trick against the poor Nottingham Forest team. But Haaland looked really strong in that Crystal Palace game. I would consider him essential if you guys don't have him. However, the fixtures and the rotation upcoming might actually put you off. But it was nice to see that Foden is finally passing to Haaland. Look what happens. When Foden passes to Haaland, he ends up scoring. The final play in our starting 11 only resulted in 1 point, and that was going to be Gabriel Jesus. I really do feel sorry for those of you who did captain Jesus. Probably watched the Liverpool game in the late afternoon, saw that Mo Salah blanked in a 9-0, thought the luck was on your side, but no, Jesus blanks and also gets a yellow card. So luckily in our own team, I went for Salah over Jesus. He tripled Jesus' points, therefore getting us more, and to be honest, it was only between these two. I've seen some people actually go for Haaland. I would say congratulations if you guys went for Haaland 100%, but I can honestly say I was never considering him for captain, as for me it was between Salah and the Brazilian forward Jesus. So let me know in the comments down below, did you actually go for Haaland as your captain? I saw on Discord last night a couple of people saying their mini leagues are now being taken over by Haaland captainers, and they're currently leading the rankings. But if you didn't captain Haaland, let me know how you did in the comments down below. I've seen some absolutely massive scores, but also some pretty bad ones. But now heading on to our transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 5, a short turnaround from Sunday to Tuesday, so please make sure that you guys have your teams locked in, and unfortunately it's less time to make our FPL transfers. Now, if you guys do recall from the previous slide, I've got 0.5 in the bank, but only one free transfer to upgrade my team. Now, the first transfer I want to talk to you guys about is going to be one that we spoke about last week. Is it going to be worth it this week? It's going to be Haaland to Harry Kane. So obviously this move was not worth it in terms of the hat-trick for Haaland, but I mean, Harry Kane plays tonight. He could always improve on that. Maybe he gets 4 goals, 5 goals, then you're going to be absolutely laughing. But in terms of this move for the upcoming game week, the main reason why I want to talk about this is that there has been some rumored rotation for Haaland with the Champions League now approaching next midweek. So in terms of the upcoming fixtures for Man City, obviously the Nottingham Forest game, if Haaland's going to play, even if he plays 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you might still want to keep hold of him because City are so good and Nottingham Forest are so bad. Then in terms of Harry Kane, in game week 5 has West Ham away, tough London derby that one, but West Ham on pretty bad form at the current moment. Then continuing on to that, Haaland has Aston Villa in game week 6 to Harry Kane's Fulham at home, and as you saw the Fulham against Arsenal, they are putting on quite a good show. And then finally, these two clubs kind of face each other, and I think that you guys have to favour Man City as it is a home game. However, Spurs have the habit of actually taking points off the blue side of Manchester. So simply put, this comes down to expected minutes. Both of these two players are playing Champions League, and therefore there might be some rotation between them. But as I said last week, this kind of comes down to captaincy for me. Are you going to captain Haaland in game week 5? Are you going to captain Kane in game week 5? That's the option that I would probably go for. If you're going to go for Mo Salah captain anyways, I just simply keep hold of the one that you have. Chances are that probably will be Haaland, and that's what I would suggest. If you have Haaland, keep hold of him. And I'd only go for Kane if you want to captain him. But I also wanted to note, and kind of to wrap up this talking point, is going to be the manager's comments on the rotation. Pep came out and said that Haaland will probably be rotated. However, Conte also came out and said with the fixture congestion, Harry Kane might get rested as well. So I personally am not really looking too much into this rotation. I'm simply going to keep the option I have, which is going to be Haaland, unless I want to really captain Kane. So now we've spoken about the Haaland to Kane move, I want to move on to another player that I spoke about last week and definitely is still on my radar, and that's going to be Perisic. So Perisic plays tonight, so you guys are going to probably be watching this video as the game is being played or after the game has actually happened. So you guys will know if Perisic started or actually got a haul against Nottingham Forest. Now I will say, if Perisic's going to be benched today and is guaranteed to start against West Ham and Fulham, I probably will bring him in for a 2-week punt as I just think that he's such a great FPL asset. But saying this, if Perisic starts tonight against Nottingham Forest, I probably won't look at him because I do think he'll be rotated and therefore it's not worth my transfer. But I just want to kind of put my talking point about Perisic out there just so that you guys know how I'm feeling about him. If he starts tonight against Nottingham Forest, probably won't go for him even if he does haul. But if he doesn't start, I do have 0.5 that I could upgrade either Cucurella or Walker to the Croatian. But let's say that Perisic starts tonight, I don't really want to go for him, I want to go for another defensive switch. There's probably going to be one team that I want to target, and that's going to be Brighton. Now between the Brighton assets, they've just signed a new kind of left wing back. Don't really know if he's going to start every single game, and therefore I prefer to go for a more solid option, and that's going to be Lewis Dunk. So in terms of Brighton, I think they've kept the most clean sheets over these opening 4 games, and therefore with the nice upcoming games as well, I think I'm going to jump on their defense. So Fulham away looks like a tough game, but they should keep a clean sheet there. Leicester at home should also be a clean sheet, and then Bournemouth away. With Bournemouth looking so bad, I think that's almost a clean sheet locked in. Now Dunk doesn't offer the most attacking threat, and therefore a left wing back or a right wing back might be a better option, but as I mentioned, he's nailed in that starting 11 and therefore looks like a secure option. Now in terms of the defenders that I want to downgrade to Lewis Dunk, I've got 2 in mind. The first one's going to be Cucurella. Now I know that Chelsea's fixtures look pretty strong, but the reason why I am considering Cucurella is that he's one of the 8 teams kicking off on Tuesday, and therefore we might get some early team news before the deadline. So let's just say that we're going to be going into that deadline stream, we get news that Cucurella is going to be benched, therefore I will shift him out from that early team news to Lewis Dunk. However, if we do get news that he's going to start, I'll just simply keep him in my team. It doesn't look like Chilwell's back to full fitness, and therefore I do expect him to still start. Southampton away next. United kept a clean sheet. Yes, Southampton looked pretty strong, but I do think Chelsea with a full starting 11, not a starting 10 like this week, I think they should keep a clean sheet. Cucurella, as we saw in game week 4, also offers that attacking threat, and therefore with some nice upcoming games, I do still want to keep hold of him. So let's just say that we do get news that Cucurella starts. There could be an asset that I also downgrade, and that's going to be Kyle Walker. Now Kyle Walker is hard for a simple reason. They play Nottingham Forest in game week 5. I'd be absolutely mad to take out a Man City asset that would probably start on Wednesday against such a poor side. But I guess that's where it comes into account. Will actually Kyle Walker start that fixture? I do think he might, but there might be some rotation there, because if Man City do rotate, this is the game week to do it in. I just think there might be more rotation against Nottingham Forest because on paper that's the easier fixture and it is at home as well. So this could also be a move that I actually go for. I think that Lewis Dunk over the next couple of game weeks will be absolute gold as that Brighton defense is looking so strong. But you guys can let me know, am I absolutely mental to take out someone like a Kyle Walker before Nottingham Forest for a Lewis Dunk that plays Fulham away? But having looked at these transfers, they're not necessarily kind of high priority. Most of my players have great fixtures going into game week 5. If they are rotated, that's a whole different story, but I might also just bank a transfer. But there is going to be one transfer plan that I want to talk about last because I've left it for last because it's the most Maverick situation as possible. It's going to be to take out Mo Salah. Now I know what you're thinking, am I absolutely crazy taking out the GOAT of FPL, Mo Salah? The Egyptians looked on red hot form this season, even though he didn't do well in game week 4, still had about 2 or 3 big chances that he could have converted and actually ended the game week with a pretty respectable score. So yes, I do agree with you, 100%, I get you, but what happens if I took Salah out for Kevin De Bruyne? So post-production, Dave, you're going to hop on this track because I just want to clarify something I did not mention in this video, and that's going to be the -4 hit for Kevin De Bruyne. Now why I have to do a -4 hit is because I do currently have a triple up on Man City already. If you guys remember, Cancelo, Walker and Haaland already in my team selection. And therefore this move would be in turn with the Kyle Walker transfer to either Perisic or Lewis Dunk. So I just want to clarify there, so this would be for a -4 hit and therefore makes it even more Maverick, and therefore I'd have to captain KDB as I said to make it worth it. Now I know that Kevin De Bruyne is not necessarily the best FPL asset, but on his day he can get a massive haul, and that's why for me I might actually do this transfer for game week 5. In terms of my own team, I can't really see other transfers that I want to make. I mean, I've just showed you guys some transfers. If I'm talking about Haaland, who just scored a hat-trick to Harry Kane, you probably know that my team's looking pretty respectable, and therefore this could be one of those differential or more Maverick moves. I just feel like the start of the season has been so template, my team's been template, everyone around me's been template. This could be one of those game weeks where I take a punt, get those effective points up, and make some strides in my opposition. Now the reason I want to do this move is we've already spoken about Haaland, we have that rotation concern. I actually do think that there's more of a concern in game week 5 against Nottingham Forest than there will be against Aston Villa. Now some people have actually been saying it doesn't really make sense to rotate Haaland this week. It makes more sense to rotate him on the weekend against Villa because that's going to be before the Champions League game. Now I do agree with them, but I just think on paper, who are you going to rotate against? Nottingham Forest at home or Aston Villa away? On paper, it's going to be Aston Villa away, tougher game in my opinion, and therefore Pep should pick his strongest 11 for that fixture. So this is where it comes into account. I probably want to captain Haaland over Salah for game week 5, but if he's not going to play or not really concerned about minutes, I could always bring in KDB and captain him rather. I just feel like KDB is more nailed for expected minutes in game week 5 than Haaland, and that's why I think the Belgium could actually be a nice captaincy option. So that's literally the only reason why I would do this move. I do this move if I want to captain KDB, otherwise it's not worth it. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like I want to captain a Man City asset against Nottingham Forest rather than Liverpool asset against Newcastle because that just looks like the better fixture. But saying that though, maybe Newcastle go out and lose against Wolves. As I'm talking, maybe Wolves have scored 3 goals, 4 goals, then we're going to consider going for Salah yet again. I just simply wanted to put this out there on the table because as I've always said, I want to be transparent with the viewers, with you guys. I want to show you my FPL decisions, and this is a move that's in the back of my mind, but this might just be the more Maverick manager in me talking. But I know it's a crazy move, probably won't do it, but I wanted to put this out there because if there are managers like me thinking about it, we can actually have a discussion in the comments on my Discord channel. So let me know what you think down below. But this is basically the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the team selection tomorrow where I will update you guys on all the news for the Sunday games. So please watch that for the most up-to-date transfer plan, otherwise the deadline stream where I will be giving you guys the final team selection. But I'm signing off, it's me Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.